Hey, what's going on, guys? It's fineokay from Team Cryptic, and today I'm making the much awaited, much requested Hercules God Guide. Hercules is one of my favorite gods, and I really like to play him, so decided that, hey, I kind of know a lot about him, so I might as well make a God Guide on him to help everybody out to play him, because I think he's underrated, and he's kind of been one of the go-to gods in solo for as long as Smite has been out. But he's kind of fallen out of favor lately. But I still think he's viable, and not dying is fun, and also getting crazy heals off is fun. So we're just going to go ahead and make the Hercules God Guide. So as always, we're going to go through everything just like normal. We're going to start out with what we're going to be starting the game with. Keep in mind this is for Conquest, so we'd start the game with Bluestone, Boots 1, Health Chalice, and if you feel like you may miss out on your blue buff, you may get invaded or something. I say this like if you don't know that your jungle is going to start with you and you can secure your blue buff, then you should go multi-pots. But if you know that you're going to be able to secure your blue buff, just go ahead and go 2 health pots so that you get that extra sustain. And for active, I like Horrific. Horrific is really good, but if they have a lot of slows or you feel like you might need to sprint away from ganks or anything, Sprint's good. And you can never go wrong with Shell. But I do like to go Horrific because you kind of can just mess with people on their backline if you have Horrific and Thorns or something. Sometimes Bracer is good as a second relic, but if they see that you go Bracer first, they'll just get anti-heal immediately, even though they're going to get anti-heal anyway because you're Hercules. But it's sometimes you can go Bracer second active, but it would have to be you'd have to realize that they may not be going anti-heal. You have to like check their builds to see what they're kind of building. So we would usually just start the game off with Horrific, right? So I'm level 20. Let me de-level real quick, and then we're going to talk about the laning phase with Hercules. Alright, so let's talk about the laning phase. So the laning phase with Herc is pretty straightforward. At level 1, if you're starting the wave, you want to grab your 2 so that you can group up the wave. And if you're starting with the jungler, say you're starting with a Ratatasker or a Serket or something, if you 2 the wave and group up the wave with the knockup, you're going to be able to get all 6 of the minions right next to each other. So if you have a Rat who has his 2 and AoE autos, you're going to clear really fast. Or if you have a Serket that can Deathbane the entire wave right there, you're going to clear really fast. So clearing with Herc at level 1 is actually pretty easy. However, if you're looking to fight, grabbing your 1's really good because your passive gives you physical power. So if you're fighting 2v2, say your jungler is with you, you're fighting 2v2, you're getting physical power when they do damage to you. So your autos are going to be hitting harder than everybody. It doesn't matter who they are, your autos are going to be hitting harder than them. And if you have your 1, which does a lot of damage, can also stun them, it can help you. So that's basically how you start the game. The laning phase with Herc is pretty easy. All you do to clear the wave is you 2 the back minions, 1 it over. I'm a little stuck here, but the minions are a little bit tankier. The archers will actually, at level 3, will just die to your bluestone. You don't have to auto them at all. No matter what, if you have 2 points in your 1 and 1 point into your 2, your Earthbreaker, the archers will die to your bluestone no matter what. So all you have to do is worry about the front minions. So what I mean by that is we do this, we push them. The archers right here are going to die to my bluestone every time. They aren't here because the minions are like the health on them and their tankiness is a little bit different based on the time in the game. So like I said, since they're just going to clear, worry about the front archers, and then after you actually clear a lot faster than a lot of characters, right? So after you do that, I suggest that you, so after we have it cleared, we don't worry about the archers, we just start hitting the melees. After we do that, we can just go on the enemy soul laner. We can do that pretty easily. So at rank 5, I didn't do it, but something you can do on Hercules, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Something you can do on Hercules is point save. So now I have 2 points in my 1, 1 point in my 2. So I just hit 5. I can put a point in my ult and a point in my 1. So now I have 3 points in my 1. So that's hitting really hard. 225. That's a lot of damage. Plus I have my ultimate. So that's something you can look to do. However, if you want to get like an auto cancel off, or you want to make sure that you maybe can heal a little bit, just grab your 3. It's a little bit safer to do that as well. So if you're not comfortable with it, just go ahead and grab your 3. So little tip you can use. Also, one of the biggest things I think amateur Herc players don't do, and I'll show you here what I mean. One of the things they don't do is they don't ult the waves. I liberally ult the waves, and what I mean by that is I very consistently, all I do is when I walk up to the lane, say I have boots, I just got my boots, I still have my ultimate, their soul laner just got back to lane as well. We both have our boots, and we're both about to walk up to this wave to clear it. Say there, he's walking up to the wave. I'm honestly just a lot of time, I'm just going to ult it. Unless something is about to happen, like a fight's about to break out, your rank 1 ultimate will full clear the wave no matter what at around this level. It didn't here, like I said, because it made it a little bit tankier. But this does two things. If he's sitting in the wave, he's not expecting you to ult it. So you're gonna do damage to him. You're gonna full clear the wave. So he has an entire wave to clear. So you're automatically getting pressure off that, right? You're using your ultimate, but you're hitting him with it. So you're getting the damage off it anyway. And since your wave is cleared, and he still has to worry about the other wave to clear, all you have to do is just go on him. If I full clear his entire wave, and then I have 2 abilities that do CC, that cause CC or whatever, I'm just going to push him, like I ult the entire wave and then he's up in the wave like that. I'm just going to push him, and now he's definitely less than half health. And if I have a horrific, you know, maybe I can kill. Maybe I look for a pull after I ult and I can push him into my wave. Like, there's just so much opportunities there. And so that's one way you can ult the wave. But also, if I just walk into the lane and I want to ult the wave and I want to go back to to the jungle, that's another option because you're full clearing with it. And although your ult is very valuable, your 1 and your 2 are your most valuable abilities. Like, especially in team fights or in fights, your 2-1 is gonna instantly kill a lot of mages. So keep that in mind. If something, you know, a fight's about to break out and you want to have your ultimate for it, or they have a lot of characters that CC that with a lot of CC, so in a fight you want to make sure you have that CC immunity, then don't ult the wave. Just worry about 2-1ing it. But I do like to ult the wave often because that allows me to save my 2 abilities, because I have to use 2 abilities to clear the wave, right? 2-1, and that's my escape. If I ult the wave, then I have both those up and I can either fight, use as an escape, so there's always that option. So that's pretty much how you play Hercules in the laning phase. Also in the laning phase, I have a entire video on every warrior about this, but a lot of times you want to make sure you're using your auto cancels perfectly, right? So what I mean by that is a good use of your auto cancels, especially after you ult the wave, but just in general, is if I walk up to the enemy solo lane, I auto and push, auto 2, auto 3, auto ult, right? So I just got 4 autos off in that time. And a lot of people, you know, will just use their abilities. They may not auto in between, and you're losing a lot of DPS that way. So I'm going to do it again real quick. So I'm autoing, pushing, auto 2, auto 3. So I just got a bunch of auto cancels off there, so it increased my DPS by a lot. And this is important because if you're boxing with the enemy solo laner, you're getting that physical power, right? So your autos are going to be hitting really hard. So you could weave in 400 extra damage into your ability rotation just by autoing in between your abilities, right? So that's really big on Herc because, like I said, his autos are going to be hitting harder than most characters early game because of the passive. So another thing you can do is, if you know you're going to hit your pull, you can 2 auto, push, auto, 3 auto. So a little bit of extra DPS there, so make sure you're doing that in lane. It could be the difference between a kill and not a kill. So that's pretty much how you play the laning phase. It's pretty straightforward. Some little tips I gave you guys, and next we're going to talk about the build path on Hercules. First, I'm going to go over my go-to build that I really like and is really efficient on Hercules, and then I'm going to talk about an alternative option that you can go and isn't wrong, but it's just not as efficient as the first one. So first one we're going to be talking about is this build where I go breastplate first. So you're going to be going breastplate first against all physical. If it's a guardian or maybe a mage in solo, whatever it is, as long as if it's magical, you want to go Genji's first. But we're going to be going breastplate almost always against our warriors, straight into Height of the Urchin. I'm going to talk about breastplate a little bit more. So the Gladiator Shield is in the meta right now, and some people may like to go Gladiator Shield on Hercules. I personally would never do that. I think it's not very good on him. There's more efficient items like breastplate, rushing breastplate. I like more because of this full CDR, or the 20% CDR it gives you to get you closer to that full CDR, and also the of course the mana and physical prots and stuff. So I think breastplate's just more efficient. Plus, Gladiator Shield isn't really good on Herc because usually you're only hitting one target with your 2 and your 1, so you're not getting a lot of that passive proc off of it. The only time it would be valuable is if you're hitting multiple people with your ult, but that does not warrant getting it over breastplate in my opinion, right? Plus you have a sustain on your 3, so the more CDR you have, the more times you're going to be able to pop your 3, so I like that. Height of the Urchin here because we already have our Fizz Prot. We want to get our stacks on line as soon as possible, and Height of the Urchin is just a really good item to be tanky with, right? So we go that. Then we're going to be going Genji's. This puts us at 30 CDR. If we have our blue buff, we're at 40 CDR, so we're capped out. So that's really sick. You want to try and get to full CDR on Hercules. It's really good on him, and I'll show you why in a bit. Well, I can tell you now. I mean, you're just using your ability. That you're an ability-based character, so you're able to just spam your heal. You're able to spam your pushes, your pulls to put people out of position. So you're putting people out of position more consistently. So 4 CDR is sick on him. And then we go Wing Blade. And another reason it's really good on full CDR is really good on Herc is because you want to be going Shield of Regrowth. Shield of Regrowth is probably the most potent and best item on Hercules, or it seems like Shield of Regrowth was made for Hercules, right? Because he has a heal that consistently procs it. But the best thing about it is at full CDR, our heal is on a 10.2 second cooldown, so it's 0.2 seconds above the cooldown on Shield of Regrowth. It has an internal 10-second cooldown, right? So that means our heal will never, or our Shield of Regrowth passive will never be on cooldown when we can use their heal, right? So I use my heal, and by the time my Shield of Regrowth passive comes back up, my heal will be back up as well. So I'll always be able to just spam my 3. No matter what, I can just walk around the map, spam my 3, you know? I can just keep clicking it, walking around the map. And, you know, you don't want to waste it before a fight, but if you're trying to get up close to them, you can use it. And then if they go on you, then you're going to have your heal up. And then after they go on you, it's going to be back up, and you're going to have your Shield of Regrowth passive back. Your Shield of Regrowth passive back up. So it's just really good on him. It seems like the item was made for him. We go Wingblade before Shield of Regrowth because Shield of Regrowth is a little bit more expensive. Wingblade is a really cheap item that can help us stay alive. And at this point in the game, this is what we need, right? Just be as tanky as possible. So this is my go-to build on Hercules. Is the build I went against Space Station. I really like it. But there is another option. So I'm going to sell all this real quick. We'll just keep our boots because we're going those boots. This is the Mystical Mail option. So Mystical Mail is really good on Herc as well because you're going to be in the middle of a fight. You're going to be able to get a lot of damage off with your Mystical, and it helps you be as tanky as possible as well. And then just like the last build, we go Hide of the Urchin into Genji's for the same reasons. This gives you a little bit of CDR that you might want. I did say that almost all your damage is coming from your abilities and being able to consistently put people out of position. However, this is a little bit different of a build. With this build, I maybe even go Thorns, and I just I was going to say constantly, but I consistently just sit in their backline, pop my Thorns, sit next to them, auto them, because my autos hit really hard with my passive, and I just make sure that they're having the worst time ever. So this is kind of what I would go with this build. And then I would go Mantle, and then I would go Shield of Regrowth. I always try and fit a Shield of Regrowth in on Hercules just because it's just so potent on him. This puts us at 30% CDR and 40% CDR if we have our blue buff. So it's a pretty tanky build. We have perfect physical and magical protections if you look down there at the bottom left, 208, 208. We also at level 20 have 3200 health. Coincidentally though, with our other build, this is not the order, right? But I'm just going to show you. With our other build, we also have 3200 health. However, we have a bit less physical and magical protections, but we get the survivability from Wingblade, we get the survivability from Shield of Regrowth, Genji's with the passive proc that would help our cooldowns come up. So we're never going to die with either build, really. So yeah, we're at only 173 and 148. If we had our Hide of the Urchin fully stacked, we'd be at 203 and 178. So with the other build, we'll be a little bit tankier physical, or at least protection-wise, but the survivability we get from Wingblade will kind of compensate for that. I always tell people to make sure that your solo lane builds are kind of near 200 physical and 200 magical prot, and you're around 3000 health. 3200 health on a build without a Mystical Mail or any like Midgardian or anything, or Stone of Gaia is actually really good. So I really like this build on Herc, so try it out. For relics, I usually wouldn't go Blink. Blink's an option though. I like Horrific on Hercules, but I also like going Thorns. Thorns is really OP. Shell is always an option. Sprint's always an option, depending on if they have a lot of a burst or if they have a lot of slows. Bracer, like I said before, is an option if you know that they're not really committing to anti-heal too much. The cooldown reduction on the upgrade is really sick. If you get a Genji's proc, you get all your abilities back. Then if you pop your Bracer, you get all your abilities back again. You just spam your abilities non-stop. So usually my go-to would be like Horrific or Thorns, or Sprint and Thorns, or Shell and Thorns. However, Blink's an option, and I'll show you why. So Blink's really good to put people out of position when you have CC. This is common for any character, right? If I have a Athena, I can blink taunt and then they're instantly out of position. Or if I have a like a blink Gebel, that's perfect setup. But similar with Hercules, you can easily blink into a fight and push them to your team. Say my team's back here. Another option we have, let me go over here. Another option we have with this is if I'm all the way over here, I can cover a lot of ground if I blink to this person and then my team's back there and I push them into my team, right? So they weren't out of position where they were standing, but once I blinked in and pulled them, they were. Keep in mind this stuff is hard to pull off. But another really funny interaction with blink with Hercules is this. I'll show you. So I'm dropping frames a little bit, but basically what happened is I blinked immediately after using my 2. Since I'm not in combat for about like half a second here, it does the damage and CC at the very end. I'm able to blink behind me. And the way Hercules, I guess, 2 is programmed is it pulls them to wherever Hercules is at the time, right? So let me get this again. Since it pulls him to wherever he is, if you're able to blink behind you, it'll pull him all the way back here, right? So look at the distance that we just traveled there, since I'm able to blink after my 2. We went from here all the way to here. Now this is really hard to pull off, but if you're able to pull this off, this is the entire mid lane, right? That's their tier 1 tower, this is our tier 1 tower. Pulling somebody across the entire lane is insane, and it would be a kill every time, right? But it is very hard to pull off, so this is more of a casual thing. I would never try this in competitive, most likely, because it would just be way too hard to pull off, and it would be kind of dangerous, right? And a lot of times you're going to be put in combat from other people. So this is more of like an arena thing you can try out, but it is fun to try in Conquest, and I've only done it a couple times, so definitely go for that. But like I said, your relics should be more consistent things like Shell, Thorns, and Horrific and Sprint. So yeah, that's going to be the build for Hercules. Next we're going to talk about the team fights. So I always find it a little weird to talk about the team fights in jungle practice because I can't really show you like certain situations and everything. So I always do suggest that you guys watch some of my Hercules gameplay on my YouTube and just watch me play in the team fights and kind of take notes and make observations for yourselves. But I do like to give you guys hints and I guess suggestions and tips in this, so let's go ahead and do that. One of the biggest things in the team fight as Hercules is you can pull their front line, right? So say we're about to break out, there's a Gold Fury fight or maybe even a Portal Demon fight, somewhere around there, and we're all staring at each other, right? Their 5 people are kind of posturing around in front of us, and then our 5 people are posturing around. Me and my support are right next to each other because we're the front line, right? Pulling their front line is actually not that bad on Hercules, especially if you have characters that can blow them up. Let's just say the one character that we have that we can blow them up is a Nemesis, right? So if I can pull their front line, say this is their support, if I pull them and push them to my team, this will get combos and we kill them. Their team is all the way back here still, right? Their carries are all the way back here. They're not going to be able to help and peel by damage or anything like that for their support. We're going to be messing up this support all the way back here, and it's going to be the freest pick ever. So the thing to learn from that, I guess the note, is that pulling frontline isn't always bad on Hercules. And actually, he's one of the few characters that can do that isn't always diving the backline. Is a character that maybe be setting up for his team, but is also Hercules is, I guess, theoretically diving the backline when he pulls the front line because he's keeping them so far away from their support that like he's keeping them at bay, right? If that makes sense. I hope it does. So yeah, that's one option you have as Hercules. But when you do dive the mage characters, you do a lot of damage, right? If I push their mage, auto 2, auto 3, auto. First of all, they're not going to be able to go on me. I'm never going to die as Herc unless they have a lot of characters on me and they get a 6 CC chain off or whatever. But also when you're in the jungle and stuff, look to push them toward like to walls and stuff, because a lot of times you're going to be able to ult off the wall and then make sure it like bounces back onto them, right? Because your ult ricochets and it does 50% damage on each subsequent hit. So say it does 800 damage. This is a mage with barely any physical protection, so I'm hitting her for pretty much 800. I say her because I'm thinking of like Isis or something. I'm hitting her for 800 on the first, then 400 on the second, so I'm at 1200 then 200, so now I'm at 1400, then I'm at 100, so now I'm at 1500. So obviously you're not going to be able to hit it 4 times, but if you're able to just get 2 ricochets off, that's 1200 damage just instantly like that. So this mage is going to be dead almost every time. or at least, like I always say, you're going to force their actives. Right, so look to push people towards walls and ult them in the fights. If you do notice that you're going to be gone on, like they're going to try and kill you, blow you up, make sure that you pop your 3 right before, right? This happens in the SPL. There's a clip of it happening to me. I knew that they were going to go on me. I'm able to pop my 3 right before, and if they use all their abilities on you and they get you really low, but you're able to get your heal off, and at this point in the game, you know, maybe they don't have the anti-heal or whatever, your health is going to go from about 20% to about 80 or 90%, right? And another thing you get from that is you get protections. So you're going to be wanting to pop your 3 anyway before they try and commit to you, because you're going to get protections from it to help you survive. So his 3 is a really good ability, let's be honest. So if you're able to get that heal off, it could change in a fight entirely, right? A couple other things with Hercules' ult in team fights are, one, it has a long time CC immunity, right? So let's see real quick. It's about a second, maybe a second and a half of CC immunity, right? That's your only CC immunity in your kit. So if you realize that maybe they're going to try and go on you a lot, or that a really important CC is coming in the fight, just use your ult. If you see a couple people, just throw it out there. It does a good amount of damage, and it's pretty big, and people don't expect you to ult at the beginning of the fight. So just throw it out there and to avoid some CC or whatever. But also, if you see that they're lining up, the beginning of the fight, this is at the beginning of the fight, right? They're all full health, you're all full health, and you're about to initiate, or they're trying to initiate on you, just throw out your ult. You may hit a few people, you may hit their mages, and it's going to do quite a bit of damage. A lot of times I see Hercules players saving their ult to try and secure a kill, or they're saving it because they think that maybe once somebody gets low, they'll throw it over a wall and get a kill, or whatever. They're just being too conservative with their ults. Yeah, so, and I talked about this with the laning phase too. Just throw out your ult at the beginning of a fight. If you hit 3 people with it, you're going to start that fight off really well, because you're getting instant damage, and your ult's not all that valuable, but getting that damage off at the beginning of the fight and all that is very valuable, and it's a good way to use your ult. So more things to talk about as far as team fights with Hercules is the objective play. So with Hercules, say we're tanking Gold Fury, whatever, our support's tanking it, this is gold, and they're coming around the corner right here. His Gold Fury bait is actually really good, because right when they turn the corner, I can pull them and push them into my team, and then that's basically an instant kill. And that could be the support, it could be their solo, it could be whoever. But basically it's a really good bait, because we can easily pull them around that corner around gold. And this could be the same at Portal Demon. My team's tanking and I'm zoning, and if anybody comes near, I can just push them into my team, and that's another free kill, and that gives us an advantage to get the objective. Or I could just zone, I could push them away from the objective, because Hercules is really good at zoning, because he can't really die. But another thing is, if you know that you're not going to be able to zone because they may be able to kill you or whatever, Hercules has really good secure, because his ult does a lot of damage, right? And if it's up against the wall right here, say this is Portal, and they're coming around the corner, it's getting really low, we're calling for secure, I'm able to ult, and it's going to bounce off and come back. That did a lot of extra damage, because Gold Fury's not very tanky right now, but you get the point. You're able to secure really easily with how much damage your ult does. It's about, if you're able to bounce it off the wall, say it's a Portal Demon right around when you'd be doing Portal Demon around 20 minutes or whatever, it's going to hit that Portal Demon for like 600, 700, right? So it's going to be a lot of damage instantly, so you're going to be able to secure that objective very well. So you can do that with Hercules as far as objective play. But like I said, it's also really good to bait with him, to pull people in, and also to zone with him. So you should never die with your build, right? And unless they have a lot of anti-heal and they have a lot of characters that can kill you, like Nem and Circuit and stuff. So a new little addition to the God Guide series is we're going to talk about like matchups and comps and things we want to pick Herc into and don't want to pick Herc into. So first we're going to talk about the solo warriors that we don't want to play into, or at least want to tend to avoid. Osiris is the main one. Osiris has anti-heal in his ult, so he can kind of destroy Hercules. I do suggest that you do not pick Hercules into Osiris if you're new to Herc or just new to solo in general, because he kind of can easily body you and kind of win the matchup. However, if you're really good at Herc or are a veteran in solo, I do suggest that you practice Herc into Osiris, because I think it's a fine matchup and that you can actually stalemate it pretty easily. Because Osiris wants to play aggressive, and Herc can pull him into tower really easily. Osiris wants to play really aggressive. Herc can ult the wave and then have a bunch of pressure. You can use his abilities on Osiris, so it's not that bad of a matchup. However, if you're starting out, like I said, try to avoid it. Erling Shen is probably the second most harmful matchup, I guess. The reason being is you have to use your escape to clear the wave on Hercules most of the time, unless you're ulting the wave. So Erling Shen is able to just go on you. He can just Fatalis you down and possibly even kill you. But the point is he can get a lot of pressure from that. He also matches some of Herc's sustain with his ult and his Death Stole sustain and all that. So avoid these two matchups if you're new. However, I do think they're fine matchups. They're at least stalemate matchups. However, every other matchup I'm perfectly fine with, even into Bellona, because Bellona has a lot of pressure as well, but you're able to interrupt her bludgeon. If she plays up at all, you can pull her into tower. You can ult immune her ults with your ult. That was a lot of ult words there, but so yeah, even Bellona's a fine matchup. Every other matchup I think is good. I even like playing Herc into HERCULES because once you get Breastplate on Hercules, you're able to out-sustain him really hard. If he is ever in his Berserk form, or if he ever uses his 2 on you, he's consistently proccing your pass. Like, he's keeping your passive stacked up, so you're always going to have that extra power. I think I talked about that in my HERCULES guide. So, yeah, I like playing Herc into HERCULES. Despite him having anti-heal on his 1, it's not that big of a deal, I promise you. So, that's a good matchup. Every other matchup is fine, trust me. You'll pretty much win every matchup as Hercules if you know how to play him. So yeah, that's as far as warriors go. As far as junglers go, I do not want to play Hercules into Serket, Nemesis, or Hunbats. Serket I don't want to play into because she has anti-heal on her ult. She blows up frontline really well, and that means we cannot be Hercules. We cannot heal and we cannot be frontline. That's our 2 main jobs, right? So bad into Serket. Nemesis for pretty much the same reason. She has frontline blow up kit. She can easily kill Herc if she ults him and has her team behind her. And if she goes brawlers, she's going to have that anti-heal as well. So really bad into Nem. For the most part, Herc has a little bit going for him. If he pushes her in her shield, she loses her shield really easily because the stun comes before the damage. But still, I would not like to play Herc into Nem. And Hunbats would be the third most. It's not as big of a deal as the other 2, but still Hunbats is really good against Hercules because he can keep him CC'd for so long. So that he can't get his heal off, he can't get his driving strike off. So those are 3 of the gods that I would avoid playing against in jungle. But for some of the same reasons, I would like to play as a Hercules. I would like to play with a Serket, I would like to play with a Rat, and I would like to play with a Nem. Serket blows up frontline. Hercules is really good at pulling the frontline to your team. So if you're able to have a Serket on your team, you can easily blow up that frontline. And also for the reason I talked about before, if you pull that first wave, so you 2 the entire wave, and then this is at level 1, right? You 2 the entire wave, all 6 minions are next to each other. Serket deathbanes that wave, then you're going to instantly clear. So it's also good with Serket. Same reason for Rat. He can easily full clear that first wave. He's really good at it with his AoE autos and his 2. So similar to Serket, he's really good with Herc because he can full clear. And then Nemesis for the same reason as Serket, because you can blow up the front line. If I'm able to pull the support or they're solo and we Nem ult that person, they're going to instantly die. And this is, when I have full CR as Herc, this is going to be happening on a 10-second interval. Every time if I'm able to get a pull, doesn't matter how many times I try, once we get it, we Nem ult that person, they're dead, right? So I really like playing Herc with them. The mage and support and ADC aren't that big of a deal. This is probably the most important thing we have to worry about, whether it's solo or support, is Odin, right? So a lot of the reason that Hercules is so good is because of his heal. And if he has 100% anti-heal, if I'm in a cage that I can't get out of, I can't heal in, they might be able to kill me pretty easily, right? So Odin would be the most worrying issue. I didn't mention him as a matchup because it's not the matchup that's bad. It's just the ult, whether it's in a team fight or if you're getting ganked or anything, right? So whether it's in jungle, solo, support, try to avoid playing against Odin. Maybe even ban it if you're playing ranked and you want to play Herc. Just ban that. Because it's funny because the matchup, playing into Odin as a Hercules is actually really good because he has to jump the wave and Hercules can just kill him. But once it comes to the team fights and once it comes to the getting ganked and all that, and he just cages you, you're going to die most likely. So try to avoid playing against that mostly. So yeah guys, that's the Hercules God Guide. I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe you learned a thing or two. To summarize, Hercules is a very good frontline god that is good at pulling. Frontline is also really good at putting people out of position. and he's very, very hard to kill with a good build. He's also very good early, and make sure you fight consistently. The passive is very underrated on Hercules. Make sure you're fighting nonstop. Your autos are going to hit so hard. I'm talking 130 at level 1, right? The last hit in your hit chain is going to hit for 130. That's insane. That's 1/4 of people's health. So yeah, fight nonstop with Herc, basically, is what I'm saying. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what god you would like to see next as far as god guides go. I'm going to have another Coach Find video out this coming week after the Gauntlet this weekend. Been a little bit busy with scrims and everything. So yeah, if you have any questions about Hercules, like I said, I can't cover everything in these videos. Also, there's a lot of things I can't explain. You just have to watch. So if you want to watch my Hercules gameplays on my YouTube, I have quite a few. Go ahead and do that. A lot of your questions may be answered there if they weren't answered here. So yeah, like I said, leave questions if you have them. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.